Hello and welcome to the PowerSwitch, gaming's call and talk radio show. My name is Peter Spezia, and today is June 12th, 2017. This is the E3 2017 podcast for Ubisoft. We're coming right after their conference. It's about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and lots to talk about with Ubisoft here.
A lot of stuff.
Joined by Scott White from DashingNerds.com.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for joining me, as
of
always.
Course. Glad to be here.
This E3 here. Let's talk about Ubisoft. We were thinking about, we do the before the show reactions and during the show on Facebook.com/DashingNerds.
Yep.
And we were saying, before the show, Ubisoft has shown a lot.
Yeah, it's like we felt that we had it pretty much all figured out. It's like, oh, they've shown so much. It's like, I think there's so many known quantities. We weren't expecting much out of Ubisoft.
Yeah, so before we get to the callers here at rhymeswithasia.com/call, where you get to call in and contribute directly to the show, we're going to run through kind of the games here and our quick thoughts about them, give them a grade, and get over to you here. We'll start right away with when you get a rabbit on screen, I'm like,
Opening with Mario and Rabbids.
We're doing this right away, and they're jumping and punching the block, and that happens. So, of course, Shigeru Miyamoto has to come up on stage. Mario
XCOM.
Well, if you were paying attention to leaks beforehand, you knew it was going to be turn-based strategy.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how much XCOM it was actually going to look like when you're getting around corners. And the jump mechanic where you're propelling them off to have that second jump, that's different. That's new. Okay. I don't know what they were doing with taking the time to we're running around exploring the Mushroom Kingdom, but when they got into the gameplay, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
August 29th as a release date for that. That's a good time for needing a game like that on the Switch.
Looks
good,
fun. Yeah. Definitely looks fun.
Yeah, so good for Ubisoft for starting like that. Get a legend like that on stage. Get the partnership going there. That was really surprising. Honestly,
I saw we made mention. We saw the little hat with the eyeballs, Miyamoto. We saw it.
Keep an eye on tomorrow with Odyssey there.
Oh yeah.
Assassin's Creed Origins. I was hoping for a cinematic, Assassin's Creed trailer. It's been a couple years since we had one, and we got one that's more gameplay shot in 4K. Fine, it's good. I'm excited to play that game. I'm looking forward to getting back into that series, but I know I could have done with a cinematic trailer, especially when other games got them. First of all, Assassin's Creed October 27th, confirming that date from yesterday. Other games got cinematic trailers like The Crew 2.
Really long cinematic trailer, too.
Yeah, and then a demo on top of it, going to different locations. Early 2018 for that game. I find it interesting that with the first Crew game, it was talking about going across the country, and it was about, you can travel from one end to the other, and there was that sort of trailer from a couple of years ago.
With your friends.
Yeah.
They made it a big point that it was with your friends, your crew. Right.
But now it's like, well, you can drive everything now. Planes, boats, trains, automobiles, I don't know.
And it almost seems like it'll have a story mode with that character that they kept showing, the king of all motorsports and everything in the cinematic trailer. I
don't know if it's necessarily a story, but it was just a lot of self-aggrandizing, just focusing on the individual. And you're talking about they show New York and they show San Francisco and really detailed worlds there, but I don't know if you can necessarily have that attention to detail really across the country. So I don't know if they're trading in that scope, they're trading in the multiplayer. I mean, it's hard to say. I think the main focus is it's more than just cars, so there you go. And it doesn't really sell me. But
it doesn't sell me as much as Need for Speed did, or Forza and things like that. This didn't. It's okay.
You're looking at the off-road driving. It's that's Forza Horizon 3 did that way better. Hard to say.
And there's still Project Cars. There's Need for Speed. There's Gran Turismo Sport. There's Forza. It's out of all of them, I think Crew is kind of on the lower end. It looked good, but it didn't look like Forza, or it didn't seem to have the same quality, I guess. But
we saw another trailer for South Park: The Fractured But Whole, coming October 27th.
Yep.
October 17th, rather, because I am struggling to read, apparently. Good to see it. Make sure that it's there, but put it away. We don't want to be spoiled too much.
Right.
We'll ramp it up a little bit when the game comes out in a few months, but Not much to say besides that. Then we start getting into the new games.
Yeah,
honestly,
really
like,
strange.
yeah.
Like, boom, surprises, brand new, never heard anything about.
So that was really neat. We have Transference, which is this VR game that
From
is coming.
SpectreVision? I don't know if SpectreVision is like the internal like company. I think probably.
Hard to say, maybe. But coming spring 2018, looks like Elijah Wood is attached to the project. Talked about like uploading mental trauma, so you're experiencing these traumatic events and like, oh, don't worry,
Like storing
it can't hurt you.
Conscious eye.
I almost thought that guy in the trailer was like, oh, it can't hurt you, and be like, yes, it can.
But I have to say it can.
That'd be really creepy. That was really neat. Good to see them at least, another like a new VR game, and we'll see with Sony later tonight if we'll see more VR game announcements there. Skull and Bones. This is taking the mechanics of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
And I think it's the same universe as Black Flag. It's just removing the assassin aspect.
Yeah. Really prettying it up. You're seeing just...
Oh, yeah.
The mechanics are almost copy-paste in a lot of ways. With,
Deeper, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. With mortars and the spyglass, and you have the long shots on the side of the ship. It brought me a lot of flashbacks to playing that for sure.
Looks fun. Wasn't anticipating it.
Yeah, talking about like a persistent open world. Play with friends, multiplayer. Can gang up as a pirate crew. Fall 2018 for that one. I think it's ambitious in what it's trying to do online, but it's trying to continue the games as a service sort of talking point that a lot of companies are really trying to hype up here. And then why not a dancing panda? Just Dance 2018.
With Rexa Bebe or Bebe Rexa?
Bebe Rexa, I think her name was.
Yeah, that sounds better than Rexa Bebe.
Rexa Bebe.
Bebe Rexa. Peter and I, neither of us had heard of.
No, of course not. Just Dance sells a whole lot.
Still on Wii.
It's really telling when it's still on Wii. But it's an odd intermission in the show. Every year it's like, all right, what are they going to do? Like, who are they going to drag out?
Yeah.
What are we dancing to? I don't know. I guess I'm glad they didn't say, like, and here's our mobile game where, like, you can dance, too. And, okay, all right. But, yes, October 2017 for that one, yes, including Wii and Wii U and all possible platforms. Then South Park comes back out again.
Yeah.
Like that's Matt Stone, isn't it? Like, that is his voice, right? And... So it's like it wasn't surprising to see Cartman pop up on your phone as a result of that. But for as much as they talk about like, oh, we don't want to get too much involved with video games. This is the last game. We don't want to do this. Like South Park mobile game, South Park Phone Destroyer, coming 2018.
It's like it looks like it might be a character collector battle game.
Yeah, talking about a whole lot of different classes for sure. Hard to say what exactly the gameplay was, but I'm sure they'll highlight it more. Coming 2017. So wow, that was a little surprising there. Then Starlink, the Battle for Atlas. Starlink Battle for Atlas, fall 2018. I was kind of saying during our reactions where it's like, you gotta wonder, with No Man's Sky flopping as hard as it did, like who is going to be the company that tries to take a kind of run at that kind of game again, but say, well, we can do it better. And I did not expect Ubisoft to be that. I certainly did not expect a Toys to Life mechanic with, a ship. I certainly did not expect...
Attached to a Switch controller, that seems to be its main platform.
Like, to have that be the primary advertised console, like, that was just a whole bundle of surprises. I mean, the trifecta of No Man's Sky, Toys to Life, try to cling on to that, and Switch.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, good on them. It's like, well, that's nifty.
Talking about fall 2018, so it still has a long way to go, but that was really surprising for sure. Steep, when we see Steep on the screen and we hear the studio head talking about like, oh, they try so hard just for a few moments, and we're like, I mean, you said in particular, 2018 coming up, it's the Winter Olympics, and then you start to see the footage and you see those Olympic rings, and it's like, man. They do not let anybody just use that. So obviously that we knew there's going to be some connection there. So Steep expansion coming in December 5th, 2017.
Road to the Olympics.
Yeah, Steep, Road to the Olympics. If they can do a proper, well-done Olympics game, that'd be great because not many are done, especially when you pass it off to Mario and Sonic and expect that to be, the pinnacle of athletic, brilliance. So that was really cool. Far Cry 5, getting to see gameplay, like
Still looks fantastic.
yeah, excited for that for sure. That was the one game where like they didn't explicitly say the release date. I mean, it's February 27th, 2018. Like they've been advertising that for a long time, but they really made a point for all the other games at least a release window, if not a specific date. So I'm impressed by that for sure.
And I remember hearing rumors that you were going to be like a sheriff, but it almost seems like you're a mercenary. You might be a mercenary.
I think you're like some sort of cop, but you're kind of play a mercenary in a way, just to try to break up the cult in a way, and you get all these different people helping you, including a dog, that good old pupper.
That cult better not kill the dog, or I'm going to go John Wick on their ass.
Yeah, for sure. And then you see a trailer, and when you start putting a pig in a Ubisoft trailer,
monkey, there's a monkey with a robo hand.
I mean, you got to start thinking Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it's just like, what is this trailer going to do to prove us wrong? And you get excited. You see someone who I honestly thought looked like Jade at the end.
It's probably Jade's mom.
Yeah, the name Dakini. It's a prequel, but Beyond Good and Evil 2. And all I could think of is good for them.
Yeah.
Like, for all the Instagram leaks and whatnot for the talk. And this is why when they say it won't be at E3, you can't always believe them. Like, it's because things like this happen. I was saying before the show on Facebook there for Dashing Nerds that it would make so much sense for Michel Ancel to say, well, I'm going to show it at Paris Games Week.
Yeah.
Because that's, where I'm from and, that whole thing. I mean, so, when you're seeing Montpellier and it's like, wait, what are they doing again? Like, they are doing that, right? Yeah. And it all came together. I think it was a
very good surprise. And it was a great end game.
Yeah.
Or end of conference game to show. For sure. And I know people were hoping for Splinter Cell and things like that, but that's one people have been waiting for a long, long time. Now, granted, that's another one where they didn't say release date at all. They said, join the Space Monkey program, help us out. I don't even know if it was beta or if they're gonna. Yeah, they didn't go too much into the. It was just a cinematic trailer. There was no gameplay shown of Beyond Good and Evil 2.
It definitely looks, moving away from the Uncharted-like gameplay that we saw in like 2009 or something like that. So seems like that's moved away, but man, that's exciting. That's a great end of show sort of
definitely
touch there.
For sure.
So our grades for Ubisoft before we pass it off to you guys.
I would have to say this has been my favorite conference so far. It had Microsoft's was great. I'm not taking away, it's still an A in my book, but so much of it was known. Like, they didn't have that big, like, surprise game. I think it was so much Scorpio-based, which was cool, but I have to say A for Ubisoft.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of good surprises. Maybe it was because I went in thinking that, I know what they're going to show, so this is just going to be kind of sitting here waiting for it to end kind of thing. But with Skull and Bones looks very interesting. I'm curious to see more of Transference. Nothing had really been said about Ubi getting into VR.
Well, I mean, last year they had Eagle Flight. They had the Star Trek Bridge Crew. So they tried a little bit last year, but good to see someone at least continue. The push to VR.
Right. Starlink looks interesting. That was really interesting, especially with them focusing on the Switch. Beyond Good and Evil as a surprise announcement, opening with Mario. I just overall thought it was an incredibly, incredibly strong showing from Ubisoft. So I'm going to give it an A.
I'll go an A-. I said that for Microsoft as well, and I think I would have to give Microsoft the edge. I liked their presentation of, not only a beefier show, but showing more games and the pacing the back-to-back. There were still times where Ubisoft kind of took a little too much time and spent longer on games. But when you're getting to all the surprises, and I think I was thinking a B+ going in, but the more I think about it with all the surprises, that's really what's pushing it to an A-. And again, if I go head-to-head between Microsoft, which I also gave an A-, I would give Xbox One X and all that the bump there. But yeah, really good show.
Strong showing.
Really
much stronger than I thought that was going to come from.
I still miss Aisha Tyler. I mean,
I did too.
Don't get me wrong, but it was a really, really strong show, and I'm very interested to hear what everyone else thinks. So when we come back, we'll get to the callers. What do you think? Love to hear your thoughts, but you can also call in and discuss what another caller had to say as well. We'll talk all about Ubisoft at E3 2017 when we come back here on the Power Switch. Welcome back to the Power Switch. So, in our 50 E3 yes or no contest questions, there are a couple that involved Ubisoft, but pretty sure they were already answered before the show even began. But even still, let's check it out. A new Assassin's Creed game set in ancient Egypt is revealed. Check, that would be Origins. Also, Ubisoft reveals a sequel to either Rayman, Splinter Cell, or Far Cry. Far Cry was revealed in the time before, since the questions, and then up to E3. So yes, Far Cry 5 does count as a yes. And then Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
That's a yes. That's the first one so far in our Hopes and Dreams segment to get announced. I mean, we'll see if something like Borderlands 3 or Devil May Cry 5 or Metroid on Switch can possibly come true before the end of E3. But, score one for Beyond Good and Evil 2. That's always really exciting to see. So, glad to see that. Let's get to you guys, the callers. What do you have to think? Love to hear what you want to say. Joining us from Illinois, Video Game Guru 64. Welcome back to the Power Switch.
Nice to be back.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in. What would you like to talk about regarding Ubisoft today?
First thing is Mario and Rabbids gameplay, and I wasn't expecting the battle system to be so XCOM-y.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, you thought the same thing too.
Oh, it's very XCOM like. I was surprised. I mean, I would seeing the tactical turn-based tactical. I was thinking more along the lines of maybe Disgaea or like Final Fantasy Tactics style, not XCOM with taking cover and oversight, and like even some of the abilities from XCOM are directly ripped.
Bringing up Disgaea, the jump mechanic is from Disgaea.
Oh, interesting.
So like
they have the toss command I know in Disgaea where you can pick up units
and then throw them to a nearby.
See, it's a type of gameplay that I'm not that interested in, to be honest. Like, I was terrible at XCOM. I was so bad when I tried Enemy Unknown. So the gameplay doesn't really interest me, but I'm interested to see if it's something that can work well for the Switch.
But it's Mario, and the fact that it's Nintendo polished, so it will be good.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, Ubisoft's done most of the work, but Nintendo has to sign off at the end of the day. That's for sure. They're not going to let anyone just use their intellectual property. I wonder if it's kind of dumbed down the strategy in a way, not to have it be crude like that, but if it's like a kids first strategy RPG, I think that would be an interesting approach.
I think that's gonna be kids first strategy RPG.
I mean, how else do you appeal with the Rabbids? Like Rabbids, you're not trying to bring in the hardcore strategy players.
You can't have the Iron Man mode where when you lose a guy, he's gone forever, or you only have one save. You can't have more of those hardcore-esque.
That's where we're seeing like the perfect
things
with the 3 checks. I think that's just a matter of they'll just be knocked out or whatever if a hero goes down.
Yeah, because you can't kill Mario, you can't kill Luigi, you can't kill Yoshi or Peach.
Right. That just wouldn't work. I mean, even in Smash Bros, you knock them off stage, they'll come right back.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. The other thing was Battle Link or something.
Oh, Starlink.
Yeah.
That was a surprise for me, and I hope it doesn't require Toys to Life, because that looks interesting to me. Like Skylanders didn't look interesting, but that looked interesting to me. So.
Well, I believe they mentioned that that'll work either physically or digitally with the ship parts and stuff.
You have to think so. Yeah, they shouldn't require the extra purchase.
Well, but I mean, with the toys, with Skylanders stuff, you're required to purchase the parts and stuff. So,
Sure.
I mean, hopefully you can get them digitally. They'll still probably be just microtransactions then.
Fair
enough. I think whether or not they're physical toy parts or that you buy at a store or digital codes that you buy from the Nintendo, Sony, or Xbox store, those will still be a factor.
It would make sense if something's like bundled in the final game. Now, granted, this is ways off. I mean, it's fall 2018, but I don't expect to see, there's a bit of store shelf space that is specifically selling these Starlink ships. Like, no way it's going to happen. So,
And another thing is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I've played Beyond Good and Evil, so I know what happens in that story. So
So
yeah.
you're really excited
Yeah.
for the game then?
Yes, the question I had for that trailer is what console is it coming out for? Is it coming out for Switch? Is it coming out for PS4? Coming out for Xbox One? They didn't have really
It'll
be
be
out.
Xbox, PS4, and PC. I do not
At
see it
least.
coming to Switch.
Well, here's the
Well,
interesting thing. There's the rumor that exists.
yeah,
I think Laura Kate Dale is one who's heard something about it, at least. But the talk is that, and in the rumor mills going back, that Nintendo gave money to help get that game going. Not totally unlike a Bayonetta 2 situation. Not to say that'll be totally exclusive, but the talk was like, oh, that it'll be Switch exclusive for at least a little bit. But when they're showing that kind of trailer and that kind of target footage, I would not expect Switch.
and the Vivendi buying out Ubisoft. If it is happening, then that's why all the Ubisoft people just came up on stage and said, "This is all we have. Please."
Yeah, gosh, I didn't think of it that way. I know it's looming, and they're Vivendi's trying to make more progress on towards a takeover of Ubisoft, be it hostile or otherwise. I didn't necessarily see it that way with everyone gathering on stage, but wow, it does kind of put a more grim tone on things, I
I
suppose.
feel like they've done that previous years, though, had developers come up on stage.
Maybe.
But did they have the whole crew up on stage, or is like?
Well, I believe in
the
previous years
conference?
they've had other people come back out on stage that had presented and things like that from the teams.
Okay, yeah.
But it is something to keep in mind because it is something that could entirely happen, whether it's this year or the next year or even beyond. I'm Beyond Good and Evil too, but it's something to keep in mind. Like that would be kind of upsetting if that happened. And I saw something recently where I think does Vivendi own Universal, which then puts a weird spin on the interaction with the Nintendo and the theme park,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
maybe it's just
Yeah.
Universal Pictures and the two are different. It's hard to say. Vivendi is this slow big monster that does not do well with the things it touches. I mean, when they took over Gameloft, the mobile studio, that did not go well. I think Ubisoft showed a lot of great stuff today.
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
concerned about what a
Definitely.
takeover would mean.
Definitely.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Video Game Guru 64, we really appreciate you calling in and giving that Nintendo perspective for sure. Lots surprisingly to talk about in this conference for sure, and I'm sure we'll hear from you tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for calling in, and hope you have a great E3.
Yep. See ya.
Joining us from Texas, Jesse, welcome back to the PowerSwitch.
Good to be back again for this ongoing saga of E3.
Yeah, it's E3 2017 with quite the adventures we have here. Today's Ubisoft in particular. What would you like to talk about with them?
It was actually a pretty strong showing for them. I think in general this has actually been a pretty strong E3 this year.
Yeah, there's been some really good conferences for sure. I mean, EA has had their presentation issues. I think Bethesda's pacing was a little off, but Microsoft's was really strong. Ubisoft, very strong. And I can't wait for Sony tonight.
Oh, yeah, I
Sony
know.
should be really exciting.
I know. I'm trying not to get my hopes up.
Yeah, but man, it's hard not to.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's been a really good E3 so far, and we're 4 of 6 through.
Yep. So things I am excited for, I might get the Rabbids game, but I don't know. Really, what got me more excited about that was the fact that, well, for one, we saw Shigeru Miyamoto on stage at E3 for the first time in how long?
Yeah, it's been quite a
That's
while.
pretty
Gosh, at least 2010 he was on stage for Skyward Sword. I'm trying to think if there's any other time since then, because they only had 2012 was the last a stage show for Nintendo.
Was he even at the Switch announcement?
No, it's not at the
no, he
Switch show in Japan.
See, it made me miss Nintendo having big E3 conferences, and I totally get why they don't, because I'm pretty sure they actually save money doing this. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I still kind of want it.
you missed the pageantry. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I do like the tree houses though, and the more like one-on-one discussing things.
Oh
that
yeah,
they
they have
do.
their own way of doing things, and it's working pretty well for them.
Yeah,
One thing that grabbed my attention was during the trailer for Rabbids, there was music playing, and I thought it sounded familiar, and then I heard the vocalist. I'm pretty sure that's an Australian band called Airborne.
we were thinking during the show, it's like, is that Airborne? They're a really good band, yeah.
They are a good band, and I want more people to hear about them.
See, it's interesting. More often than not, my brother and I were kind of pegging out that name in particular because we know them from. They appear in the NHL, the EA NHL games. Their songs have appeared in. But yeah, like it was one of those like, is that them? I hope it was, but yeah, definitely a song that I was not expecting for that kind of trailer for sure.
So yes, now we have a Mario game with Airborne in the trailer. That's what Ubisoft has contributed to this E3. Thank you, Ubisoft. So that's how to get a rock song in a trailer in a way I enjoy. Then there's the way that I'm just tired of at this point. I guess this isn't really a rock song, but still it's just another example of this trend in trailers of having some dramatic, epic game that looks like all the other ones, and then the background music is some epic, dramatic cover of a classic song, usually classic rock song. So there was, what was the game? Skull and Bones?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends seem to like that one, and that's cool for them and everything. But I was just mad the whole time because there was another trailer that did the same thing. It had a cover of Crazy by Seal, I believe, in the background. And I'm just like, every year!
Really? I did not pick up on that. I think I was more just focused on the Assassin's Creed, like the pirate chants literally being ripped, like as if it couldn't be more obvious that it's directly moving there. But yeah, that is kind of an annoying trend. And I also noticed like Imagine Dragons made another appearance. I think it was for the Steep game. Just like everyone's got to have an Imagine Dragons appearance, somewhere. It's a good point though. Like you got to stop with this trend of covers from classic songs and done like in this either really epic fashion or what was another one?
Slowed down.
We were also saying for which game was it that Lord had a song, or it was very Lord like.
Oh,
it was like yeah I am Lord. Was it Crew? I think it was Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Lord, or it was Crew because we were then talking how funny it would be if Matt Stone or Trey Parker came out as Randy, as Lord, and it was like, I am Lord, yeah.
Just pop in right on the side of that trailer. That'd be really good. No, I think, there should be careful consideration about how a trailer is represented with a song and that song choice. And so some odd choices may work out like that, Mario and Rabbids with Airborne, but man, like...
The thing is, I feel like this is more of a personal gripe for me. It's just because I'm not saying it needs to stop. What I'm saying is I need to start putting it on my bingo card. Because I will get it every time.
Yes, it is worthy, definitely. Maybe next year. I think keep that in mind, and we'll have a yes or no question in the third party.
I will say yes to that one every time. I will say, though, while I'm not interested in the game, I totally get why everyone else is. Because I know that everyone really liked that ship-to-ship combat in Assassin's Creed 4, so... Was Assassin's Creed 4 or...
Yeah, that was Black Flag, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people did like it, and I'm wondering if that kind of has helped spur this pirate trend in games. I mean, I thought it was okay. Like, I could have done without it. It seemed to be a lot of like, ram the ship, go alongside it, your broad guns. It seemed a little repetitive, especially if you're doing like a circle dance around the ocean, just trying to get in that right position, just right, just perfect. But yeah, so it's hit or miss for me, but yeah, that
I think
was
it's a good idea. It's just that this is the third pirate game I've seen all E3.
Right, it has been.
Yeah,
quite a
I had
lot.
mentioned this to Pete. That is like, where did all this pirate thing come from? Because there's just been so many pirate games just suddenly announced out of nowhere since like in the past year.
I just think we need more ninjas. Just gotta counterbalance it a little bit.
We need more ninjas.
I didn't think I'd be going into an E3 where I'd see more pirates than zombies.
Oh, and speaking of ninja, Mario does the ninja run following a Roomba.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
He ninja runs.
Oh
Hanging
man,
out with Sonic too much.
I think
Naruto.
so. Yeah. Yo, sweet.
You are my friend.
Oh my God, no.
I know you know you may.
Well, before we keep going on this music theme, Jesse, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate the time. Have a great E3, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. See ya for Sony.
And joining us from North Carolina, Damon. Welcome back to the PowerSwitch.
Hello. As always, I feel welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, glad to have
Yeah.
you. Ubisoft coming off of their E3 2017 press conference. So, what did you have in mind to talk about?
I guess I have some similar thoughts to what's been expressed. First off, I guess I want to piggyback off what Jesse said, because I was actually kind of talking to him about it in the chat. It was really great to see Shigeru Miyamoto on stage again. That applause he got was really telling. You know, it does kind of make you miss Nintendo's actual press conferences. I mean, I see why they're doing the digital stuff at the Treehouse Live events, because they get to control their message and put it out exactly how they see fit. They've had some very great moments with those.
And it's great to see him honored as the industry icon he is. At first, it was a little confusing to see, like, why is this leading off the show? But yeah, if you're gonna bring out Miyamoto, like, put that at the top.
Yeah, bring out Shiggy first.
I mean, for me personally, I felt like that was the best thing they could do, because it's like when it was first leaked. I mean, I saw some people that were like, "This could be good." I saw a lot of people like, "Oh my God, this is an insult to gaming itself." And so I say, you know, get that out the way. By the way, it didn't look half bad. So, you know, kind of assuage a lot of people's fears. And also, maybe, and I hope this is what this implies, kind of freeing up space on Nintendo's event tomorrow. They don't have to, they certainly don't have to talk about it at length, but they may not need to talk about it on the digital event at all.
Yeah, I agree. You bring it up in
Yeah.
Treehouse, have a demo there, but you know, focus on your first party games, because it's mostly a Ubisoft joint. Like, they've done most of the development, and Nintendo's just really signed off on it. So I agree.
Yes, you can use Mario, and we'll make sure it's not crap.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So yeah, all the more reason why, you know, and we'll see if we're going to actually see if tomorrow, you know, there's going to be any, you know, news worth covering for Nintendo. I might as well get it out of the way now and say that, you know, I think I'd like to, you know, do the quick reaction right after the 25-minute spotlight, because in most Nintendo Directs we've had lots of things to talk about, but when they're talking about in like the first hour there may be more news and all that. Like, it's hard to say, like, what are we actually watching? What's the balance there? So just to consider that, because yeah, I mean, yeah, the Treehouse, like, they'll show things, like, you know,
They'll show things right away. Yeah, so we'll.
They've already confirmed that they're even gonna have announcements like on the Treehouse Live shows, which, I mean, I've kind of applauded it as like a smart way of doing things. Like, you know, you can spread out the announcements over a couple of days. I remember they announced Pac-Man and Wii Fit Trainer and like a Treehouse Live segment for Smash Bros. So they'll just gladly do that. But I can imagine it makes things kind of difficult to
you know, show trailers back to back in the 25 minutes tomorrow, and then, you know, demos are what Treehouse is for. Getting back to Ubisoft, though, I wanted to actually make that connect. No, it's fine. It makes a fair connection to, you know, showing things after the show. Hey, did you know after the show, Assassin's Creed, you know, half an hour gameplay is going to be after the show? You know, it's going to be after the show.
Yeah, they made sure you knew that Assassin's Creed, the live game feed was going to be shown after the show.
And after the show, they get to show 30 minutes of Assassin's Creed Origins gameplay, so make sure you tune in after the show.
It's true.
So wait, it sounds
like
to me
5
like you're
times.
trying to tell me something here, and I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 times in a minute. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it was a bit much. Glad they went that route, but it's like, okay, we get the idea.
Oh, and shooting the camera on the off screen, like,
Yeah, no,
terrible. No, stop it. Don't ever.
It doesn't take that long to switch a source and then back. Come on.
That was worse then all of EA's presentation. I know we were talking about presentation styles yesterday with EA and Bethesda. Like that was the worst use of an E3 presentation time. You spent like more than a minute almost shooting a camera on off-screen footage of a game where it was so dark and it was not right. It was not okay.
I mean, come on, you got money. Like, just give us some direct feed footage.
You plug it into a switcher, you take the source. Come on.
Yeah, it's not that hard. So that wasn't great, but there was 30 minutes of gameplay after the show. So
I'm glad that they followed through with that. And after the show, if they're interested, tune in after the show. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, I guess another thing I wanted to talk about with Ubisoft thing, which I guess Video Game Guru also spoke about, is kind of the Nintendo love that they're showing. FEA, that's my first impression, I guess, on the EA plus Nintendo front. Bethesda, they're kind of like, well, we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to do it well, but we're not going to do anything major. Like Skyrim's, 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's cool. But Ubisoft is like all in. Like, they've got an exclusive title. They've got Just Dance, of course, as well. Beyond Good and Evil is up in the air. I've seen no confirmations of that, but I'm starting to doubt it's going to be exclusive to Switch at the very least.
Yeah, and we're looking at graphics that good for a concept trailer, at least. I mean, hey, Ubisoft's the only game bringing new games to Nintendo Wii. I mean, what's that about?
Yeah, right? Like, that's interesting, but I guess Just Dance probably sold the most on Wii.
I can tell you, from working at Toys R Us, you would not believe how much that game sells. At least, that was during the Wii kind of last couple of years when I was working there. But it's crazy.
Would you believe me if I told you I worked at Toys R Us 42nd Street for a bit and know exactly what you're talking about?
Yes, thank you. Someone knows.
Well, I worked at GameStop. I remember the GameStop. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, Ubisoft has always had this trend of, at least supporting in the last few consoles for Nintendo, at least supporting it early on. I mean, we remember, Zombie U and things like that. But the question is, how long does it keep up? And hopefully, I mean, if it's going to last until fall 2018 for this Starlink game, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. That was kind of my problem with them last generation. But then again, even Nintendo abandoned the Wii U eventually. They were like, we're going to do this, and then the returns weren't as good as they wanted, and they said, oh, we're not doing this. But I have to commend them. They put in a genuine effort in the beginning of the Wii U's life cycle. They're putting in a genuine effort now. Like, it's new hardware. We're going to go all in. We're releasing multi-plats on it, like, unlike everybody else. So,
it shows a lot of promise. It's very exciting, and I'm really thrilled with how Ubisoft did. Like, we're thinking that they had so much accounted for to have so many surprises, and particularly for Nintendo fans. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, they almost had a 1-to-1 things we knew were going to be shown to things we had no idea were going to be shown or knew existed. And
it was a good stretch right in the middle there. Absolutely. Well, Damon, thank you for calling in. Really appreciate the time. Have a great E3. We look forward to talking to you, hopefully, for these next couple shows as well.
You too. Thank you.
Well, Scott, another one down. That's 4 of 6.
I know.
Sony tonight, and then Nintendo tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern. I think maybe possibly the best 2 conferences left, and that's really hard to say. Cause,
I know. We've had some really good ones.
Microsoft was great. Ubisoft was really well done. EA and Bethesda, there were some things in there that people like, but, take them what you will. At least they weren't bad.
No.
Yeah, so it's, I think E3's, they're starting to turn around. It should be pretty good.
It's been a good E3 so far.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed, though. If you wanted to pick one game out of this Ubisoft list that you really cannot wait to play most of all, what would it be?
I think, honestly, it's South Park. South Park, The Fractured But Whole.
Yeah.
It looks hilarious. I had such a good time with the Stick of Truth. Assassin's Creed Origin looks very interesting. It looks like a lot of fun. I definitely want to play that.
Yeah, get some of that Witcher involvement in there.
But if I would have to say, probably South Park would be my very top, followed by Assassin's Creed or Far Cry 5.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Assassin's Creed. I really can't wait to get back into that series. I really loved Syndicate. That was the game that they took the time off of, but man, that was so much better than Unity ever was. So I was really enjoying that. But I think Far Cry 5 may be next, and then probably South Park. I did enjoy Stick of Truth as well, but it's I'm just more interested to see like what they do with the story more than the actual gameplay. The gameplay was the tough thing that I just wanted to get to the next bit in the story and see where that went. But for sure, it's a really exciting list that they have going on, and I like when companies look for it in the future, and I think that was missing from Bethesda last night. Whereas we've got everything for this year, okay, but what are your plans beyond? Like, we should keep updating us of like, and the ones that you show in the future, like bring it back next year and let's see how it's coming along. So I think that was a really great job. I'm gonna look forward to seeing Sony tonight, though. I hope we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, not get too much hype up, but that'll be a good time as well. So, of course, at facebook.com/dashingnerds, if you haven't
We'll be
heard
live
yet.
once again 10 minutes prior to the show starting. We'll give our thoughts and hopes for the conference, followed by our live reactions and the live stream itself of the conference. And then we'll come back over here.
For sure. I hope that the YouTube video playing, or Twitch or whatever it is, looks better than it did. It got very pixely for us.
We'll
I
have
don't know if that
figure
happened for
something
anyone else, but that was unusual. Let us know if that's the case. But yeah, looking forward to it. So, for Scott White, I am Peter Spezia. Until next time, switch up, call in, game on.